Hello, my loyal readers, and I, Dark Symphony 777, with another fan fiction review. As always, link to the story will be in the description. Please like, subscribe, and remember that this is my opinion. If you have your own opinion, leave it in the comments below. First off, an off-base question. Like the shirt? I wanted to wear something fancy, somewhat secretive. Yep. So, the story I'm going to review is called The Mole Trader Rod, and I know what you're thinking. Devin, you already did a review of The Mole Trader Rod. Yes, but I wanted to do a redone version, mainly because of two reasons. One, I mainly got distracted. If you saw the original video, you saw that while I was doing the review, most of the time I was also playing in the hub world of Dungeon Defenders 2. That video will actually be immediately taken off once this one's uploaded. Second off, I felt that this was probably my worst of the first original couple of reviews, and I really wanted to do the story justice. So, The Mole Trader Abroad is written by Chris Setchers. It's an adventure mystery fan fiction on the Mario section in fanfiction.net. And you're wondering, what is the mole? What is the mole? Who is the mole? If you don't know what the mole, sorry for the base questions. It's relevant. For those of you who don't know what the mole is actually a TV show that's been around the world several times. It originally debuted in Belgium, and the plot premise, it's pretty much a sort of pseudo-reality TV show. Why is it pseudo-reality? Because it's actually somewhat realistic over how they react, stuff like that, but at the same time, you still have to compete for cash prizes. However, it differs from having to earn how much money you earn, rather than saying at the beginning, said whoever wins gets $1 million. While this one, you have to win challenges to get more money into the pot that the winner will get. You'll get anywhere from like 0 to like a couple 100,000, 200,000, 500, even $1 million if I remember right in one season. However, one player, there's 10 players, is the mole. They're hired by the director to sabotage the other players. The whole point of the show is to basically figure out who is the mole using hints on throughout the challenges, throughout the show, as well as any suspicious behavior that the players might see. And it gave us this very unique dynamic grouping that they have to work together to actually earn the money for the pot to whoever wins the whole thing. But at the same time, there's also a growing distrust over someone could be the mole, because they don't know who the mole is until the very end. And I really like the idea. And especially at the time, Chris Setchers did something of a very, very unique idea. At the time when he first wrote the story, a lot of these types of stories where they're based off reality shows like Big Brother, Amazing Race, Survivor, The Mole. I mean, The Mole, if you look on the Mario section of fanfiction.net, you'll see a whole bunch of mole stories, and they all basically trace back to this one story. Chris Etchers created this whole, I guess you could say, subgenre all by himself, with like combining fanfiction with reality show. And he's probably one of the best at it. I mean, no disrespect to another couple other authors like Princess Toadie, etc., etc. But Chris Etchers did it first. In my opinion, he probably did it the best. Now, that's not saying I haven't read a lot of other stories. I read a couple of Survivors, a couple of Amazing Race type stories, but I think the idea of mole kind of translates itself better to fanfiction than something sensei like Survivor, in essence, like that. So the plot is basically what it said. That's the plot. These 10 characters I actually have the page up. Let me tell you who the names of the characters in the first story. They're Birdo, Blooper, Daisy, Dupless, Lakitu, or Leku, that's how I pronounce it. Luigi, Toadette, Peach, and Rockhawk. You're gonna get rocked, yeah! And with the host McBally, who from Mario Party 8, he's basically telling us, oh, one of you is the mole. They have to sabotage you. But if you team up and compete in the challenges, you get money or in coins, since it's Mario. Potato. And that's pretty much the plot. I mean, there's no overly dramatic. There's no swerves. There's no twist or anything like that. it gives you the edge of your seat, like pants off like that. Yeah! And I really, really like that. Character development. A lot of the characters are developed as the course along. I mean, as the story goes on and more players go out, certain players get more developed with others. It's a pseudo reality show. So that kind of thing is a given. No obvious sort of tricks, no obvious sort of traps, just like good solid character development of people trying to figure out who the mole is, what are they doing, what do you think they're gonna do in the next challenge, what they do in the last challenge, and a lot of mystery and surrounding it. Grammar, I didn't find any grammar. Truth. Again, this is subjective. If you see a grammar error, put it in the comment section. Pacing and image. Pacing. I really like the pacing of it. The imagery is fine, as always. I mean, it's simplistic, but it works. The pacing. This is the type of pacing that needed to be done for this story. It's perfectly paced. Everything's like, it's like, what happens next? And even at the end of the chapter, segueing through the challenges to like individual parts of each chapter, they are very well done. I'm getting ahead of myself. How the chapters are done, especially at the end where the author actually goes, or McBallyhoo, however you want to say it, actually goes through discussion how each sabotage worked and how each challenges work, and not only that, but in the terms of the pacing and the overall, I love the idea of the author actually setting up this tiny little website just for the story to exist, leading to a link towards everything, leading to like clues to who the mole is, little links in his description of how it works, and like it's super creative. Sorry, I'm trying to go back to his author's page. Who is the mole? Yeah, there's lots of letters. There's official websites. Uh, he has all these little things, and it's like what? And he even has like a forum where it's like a little with him being the host and amongst other authors who do the same thing he does. Like I said, I mean, Chris Etchers. I mean, a lot of people, they didn't think of this idea until wrong button. They didn't think of this idea until Chris Etcher said, "Hey, this idea can be done well." There you go. And everyone loved it. It's actually one of the most reviewed fan fictions. Oh no, I think wrong page. Where's one second. Traitor Abroad. Yeah, it has 384 reviews. Even more impressive is that the sequels have way more. I mean, if I remember right. Yeah, I mean, if you take... Let me just go on this for one time. You take, as in, if you go on the manga section, you range it by how many stories has, based on reviews, stuff like that, of all the completed, just completed, because he has a third story which has like nearly 800 reviews, but that's not completed. Oops. Alright, I didn't. Reading. Actually, look. Holy sh! What the what? Where was the here? Oh, okay. Where is it? Let's see. Yeah. One, two. If you actually look under reviews for completed stories on the Mario, the sequel to Traitor Abroad, Saboteur's Island, is actually the 5th most reviewed fanfiction on the site. And even at one point, it was the most reviewed fanfiction on the site until it was eventually overtaken by like Paper Mario X, by Child at Heart Forever, and then eventually that site's now being topped by Change of Heart by Even Twisty 9. I probably butchered that, but overall, I really love the idea. I love Chris Etcher's overall presentation, the implementation of so many little tidbits, like the little clues throughout in certain parts of the story, the little notes that are actually in his profile page for you to look at and give you clues. Like, it's genuine reader participation. That is something that you never really see inside novels of itself, which is why I love fan fiction so much. You get this certain level of creativity and participation with, like, okay, here's how you're gonna go along with the ride. You're gonna try and figure it out with the competitors. Here's a bunch of clues. Try and figure it out yourself. And I'm not gonna spoil anything. I'm not. But I think Traitor Abroad specifically needs a lot more reviews. I think Saboteur's Island is amazing, but I wholeheartedly think the sequel is far better than Traitor Abroad because I think it ups the ante in terms of the challenges and how the characters interact and how they develop with each other. I may do a separate review on Saboteur's Island specifically. Let me know what you think if I should do that in the comments. And this is a very big but. These types of stories have one fatal flaw, and that's actually the premise itself. I mean, yeah, you have the amazing premise, but once you read it and you get to the end, it's like, I can't read it anymore because I know who the mole is. I know who's gonna win. I know how it's gonna go. I mean, sure, in other stories, when you get invested, it's not that big a deal because you're there for the whole point is to want to experience this amazing adventure, this amazing journey. But when the whole point of the story is to encourage reader participation and wanting you to join in on the journey, and you read it and you go back to reading it, because I actually, when I did the first review of it while playing Dungeon, I was like, I mean, it stopped being enjoyable. It lost that spark that made Traitor Abroad so much fun, so entertaining. How the sheer amount of love I have for the story, it just went away the second time around because I knew what was going to happen. And it wasn't so much, but it was because that main spark, that main idea of you wanting to find out who the mole was, it's gone because it's already spoiled. You already know who won. And in other stories like Fusion of Destinies, yeah, you know they're gonna lose, but at the same time, you like the story because of how the writing style. But when everything encompasses the idea of participation, it loses a little bit of identity on the second go around because it's like it feels like, and this is probably just me, it feels like it's missing something. It feels like it's missing that spark. It feels like it's missing something. And I really do love this story. I really do, but it's just, this is one of those stories because when you think of like very, very amazing fan fictions, amazing ideas of amazing movies, there's like that whole idea of, you wanted to come back to it and watch it again or read it again or or listen to it again. Like if you hear like a catchy song on the radio, you want to listen to it all the time, so you either download it on your phone or you just go on YouTube and listen to it. I know I do with Riptide all the time. But with this story, it's a different beast altogether. Mainly because the fact, again, is just, I cannot describe it because I myself don't know what it is. I mean, I read it the first time. I was amazed with the subtle twist and the hints and everything because if there's one thing I love about a good swerve, it's planting the seeds in your idea, and then when you find out about what the swerve is, going back and finding out this. How did I miss that? How that should have been obvious. That should have been obvious, but I missed it. And it's like they catch you unawares and everything. I mean, but Kingdom Beyond Midnight did an amazing swerve that was phenomenally well done. This one too, because I never heard of the mole before actually reading the story. But I guess the only thing I could think of with this story would have to be is that I wasn't emotionally invested anymore. I lost my emotional investment over how I read it, what happens. I mean, I'm probably wrong with that, but that's probably my best guess. Would I recommend it? And favorite part and final thoughts. Hell yeah, I would recommend it. If you're a fan of these sort of game show like FanFiction, go on ahead. Go read it. It's so much fun. It's so creative. But keep like a separate link to the author's homepage handy, just in case you want to look at the notes for like the individual stories, or go on the website for Agent's Elevation, the third story, which is not yet complete. At least I don't think it's complete. Is it? Is Agent's Elevation complete? Let me check. Agent's Edge update. I'm sorry, this is like weird, but it's like I'm kind of stories. No, it is done. Oh no! It's at the end. It's just no! It's just telling you how. Oh, I guess. Alright, so we're at the. 1 second. And I just accidentally spoiled myself on who the mole that one is. Damn it! Spoiled myself. Damn it. Okay, now I'm pissed. I pissed myself off. I rather pissed myself off. So anyway, sorry about that. I just curious about if the third story is complete or not. I would recommend it. I would recommend the shit out of it. It's one of those stories that it's really only worth one go through, but that one read through is amazing enough that you would want to like spread it through word of mouth and say, this story's amazing. Go read this story. Go read it. I have the app. See, I have the app. I have the FanFiction app. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, I get crazy at times when I'm passionate about something, which is reading. Favorite part. This is actually one of those parts where I guess you could say I don't really have. One second. I don't have a favorite. I guess it would have to be. I mean, for this story, it would have to be specifically a certain challenge, and I actually liked. No, what I would have to say is basically at the end with how all the hints that revealed what the mole did. I really love that little detail. I love the whole and just basically what chapter was that in the story. I think it's Truth. One second. Oh yeah, chapter 37 would have pretty much the entirety of chapter 37 of the story is probably my favorite part, mainly because I love the implementation of how, okay, here's how the mole did everything. Watch and learn how a master of subtle storytelling does it. And it's just so awesome and so tempting that you want to go to the end of the story. So who is it? Who is it? Or if you want to be like sort of meta, then I guess the entire idea, the entire essence of it, the whole idea behind the story with the mole and the mystery, I guess the entire story could be just my favorite part because I really, really love this story. But But going back to my earlier thought, my only one complaint is this story can only be read once, then it loses its luster, then it's like. But outside of that, I really do love this story. If you have your own thoughts, leave them in the comments. So, for my loyal readers, that is my re-review of Turnabout. I almost said Turnabout Story for some reason. Sorry about that. My review of The Mole Traitor Abroad. If you have a review that you want, if story that you want me to review or do a reading of, please leave it in the comments or mail me on my FIMfiction.net profile or my FanFiction.net profile. Either one will work. So, this has been Dark Symphony 777, and cut.